a Hall of Fame manager. My favorite team besides the Cubs growing up, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Are you out in California?
What is it?
Are you out in California? Are you in Chicago today?
Do I like California?
Are you in California or in Chicago?
Where in the world are you?
I'm at home.
Oh, because I know when you come to Chicago, you're always at Carmine's, or you're going for pizza at your famous pizza place, Connie's, or you're stopping for a suit at Hart Schaffner and Mark's.
That's right. You got to do that. You got to remember those people.
So who's got the better food?
Connie's Pizza. You know something? I just ate one last night that he'd sent me. Had it freezing. I had frozen. And I ate it last night, and boy, I'll tell you, I mean it. I'm not much of a pizza man, but give me Connie's Pizza any day, and I'll eat it.
Jimmy Wynn, we had on last week, he said he told you to quit feeding him. He was putting on too much weight when he played for the Dodgers.
Jimmy Wynn, how's he doing?
He's doing good. He's still waiting to get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, they're all waiting.
I saw you at the Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago with Mike Piazza, and I gave you that picture, you and Piazza. You signed one for me. I'll tell you what, that guy could flat-out catch.
Oh, man, he can hit. That's what his major part was. He can throw. He had an outstanding arm. Yeah, hey, listen, he was a first baseman in high school, and nobody drafted him.
That tells you how much of scouting is not a science.
That's right.
So you knew immediately he'd be that good?
Well, no, you don't ever think about a guy being that good. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
What do you think about what's going on with this whole Dodger ownership situation here? I see that Steve Garvey and Oral Hershiser are looking to buy the club, and I think that would be a great thing.
How are they going to buy the club if it's not for sale?
Don't you think Bud Selig is going to make that franchise up for sale?
I don't know. But how could you buy something that it's not for sale?
So they cannot force a sale, you're saying, the commissioner or the other owners?
We don't know what can happen there. I'm just saying, how could you come out and say, and you're being paid by the man, and you come out and say that we want to buy the Dodgers?
I get what you're saying. So, Tommy, when you were managing the Dodgers, was that like a dream come true?
Oh, sure. When I got in professional baseball, it was a dream come true. But I used to be, when I was about 15 years old, I used to actually dream. I was pitching for the Yankees, and there was my catcher was Bill Dickey, Gary going first, DiMaggio in center, Babe Ruth in right, Charlie Culler in left, and I thought it was so real. Then all of a sudden, my mother wakes me up and says, "Wake up, Tommy! It's time to go to school." I said, "Why didn't you leave me alone? Why'd you take me away from that dream? It was so real, and I wanted to live into that dream." So I said, "You should never take me out of that dream." So then, years later, I'm warming up in the bullpen in Yankee Stadium. Yogi Berra is the hitter, and the manager goes out and he signals to bring in the left-hander. And as I took that long walk from the bullpen to the pitcher's mound, I looked around and I said, "Man, I've been here many times, but in my dreams." So dreams become realities.
Now, in the mid-'50s, the Dodgers had a talented left-hander, and it wasn't you.
That's right.
I mean, it was you, but there was a guy who superseded you, did a little bit better, Sandy Koufax. Did you ever think he'd be that good? Yeah, that was a pretty good choice on their part, I guess.
And I say, till today, I says, I think they made a big mistake.
And then when you retired as manager, I mean, you were grooming Bill Russell for years to take over, and then it just didn't work out in L.A. with him. But then you take Mike Scioscia, who was another player of yours. He has basically taken that Angels franchise on his back and won a World Series, and he has been competitive every year. Were you surprised by that?
No, I'm not surprised by him because I always felt that he would make a good manager when he played for him. He played for me about 13 years. And he knew the game. He knew how to handle pitchers, and he knew how to handle players. So there was never a doubt in my mind that he wouldn't be a manager, and a good manager. So at one time, I had 9 guys managing in the major league at the same time. And then altogether, I think I've had about 14 to manage in the major league.
And now they have a baseball team named after you in Italy. That's got to be quite a treat.
Maybe they what?
The team in Italy, they named the Lasordas. That's got to be a real treat.
That's right, and they won the pennant the first year.
It's amazing.
It was Tollo. It was in my father's hometown, Tollo, T-O-L-L-O.
What part of Italy is that?
That's that's about 7, 8 miles from what the heck, the seaport. Gosh.
There's a lot of water there surrounding Italy, so it's one of those ports.
Yeah.
Okay. As the third base coach for Walter Alston, what did you learn from him?
Well, I learned about being patient. That's what I got out of him. But the best manager I ever played for, without a doubt, was Ralph Houck.
Why was that?
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, because he was really a player's manager. He treated you like he wanted to be treated when he played.
When you were managing that team in the Olympics, I mean, how important was it for you to bring that gold medal back to the U.S.?
Well, that's the reason why I took the assignment. They said, you can't beat Cuba. I said, well, I would like to go out after them. And that's when I told the commissioner, I told him I wanted to do it. And I knew that I could get a team up. And I'd never picked a team, so I didn't know who the players were when I met them. So I took them and made them believe that they could win, and they played their hearts out for our country, and they brought the gold medal. We beat Cuba.
They had to piss off Castro because, he loves baseball.
Yeah, I knew Castro very well.
What was he like?
Well, he's like a guy who starts talking and you can't stop him. He liked baseball. He talked about baseball with me, and he talked about the country with me. So I'd never realized he was going to be the person that he was.
Who talks more, you or Castro?
He did.
Wow. Is that possible?
Hey, don't get smart now.
Elliott's a writer. All those writers think they're smart, Alex?
Huh?
All writers think they're smarter than everybody else.
Yeah, well, I'll have to come after you, pal.
You could probably catch me, too. You're
when
still
I come to Chicago.
You're still pretty youthful. Jack McKeon's managing. Any chance you make a comeback to the big leagues?
Oh, no way. No way I've had it. I did it for 20 years here in Los Angeles, and I've had enough of it.
I got one for you. Who talks more, Billy Randazzo or Castro?
Or who?
Billy Randazzo or Castro? Because you know Billy Randazzo, the hot dog guy.
Yeah.
He loves talk. We've had him come in a couple times and guest.
Billy Randazzo, he'd talk the heads off of you.
And he tells you the same story. How many times?
Yeah, but he's very knowledgeable about the game.
Oh, he is. I mean, we had on Floyd Bannister, and he started breaking down the '83 Sox playoffs against Baltimore, and he started telling Floyd what went wrong and how La Russa lost that game for the White Sox.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him a number of times. I wanted to talk to him about hot dog, and he kept talking to me about baseball.
Who was the best player you ever managed?
Well, talent-wise, I'd have to say Reggie Smith.
What made Reggie so good? Was it he could do everything, or?
Reggie was a switch hitter. He was a 5-point player. He had a great arm, number one. Number two, he could run. He had speed. Number three, he was a defensive outfielder. Number four, he could hit, and number 5, he could play. He could play defense.
So he could do it all.
And, yeah, he's a 5-point player.
Okay.
There aren't too many 5-point players in the game.
Okay. Who was the best pitcher you ever managed?
Well, I had quite a few of them. But, Don Sutton, he's in the Hall of Fame, so, I'd have to say him, number 1. But there's so many great ones. Bobby Welch. Bobby Welch pitched for me. We traded him. He won 27 games with Oakland.
I'll tell you one pitcher who was a phenom was that Fernando Valenzuela. You might not be able to communicate with him. Social. That's why I think he was a catcher, was he spoke Spanish. But that guy, for the first couple of years, he was unstoppable.
I communicated with him. I can speak Spanish.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Where did you learn Spanish?
I learned playing in Cuba, Puerto Rico.
I never knew that, because the way they made it, the media, they said, without social.
You didn't ask, or you didn't find out about it.
You're right. If you don't ask, you don't find out.
You as a sportscaster, you should know all those things before you interview a guy.
You're absolutely right, Tommy.
Who was the best baseball player you ever saw? A lot of people, we ask that question, they come up with Willie Mays.
Best hitter I ever saw was Ted Williams. And the best player I ever saw, I had to put 2 guys on the same level. That'd have to be Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle.
And you know what? Everybody else agrees with you. They all say Mantle or Mays. The people who didn't play with Mantle all say it was Mays. The people who played with Mantle said Mantle, but those 2 are consensus 1-2.
Yeah, but you can't. There's a guy just about even with him, just a little bit, was Joe DiMaggio.
No, you're absolutely right. But thank you so much for your time, Tommy. We got to go.
Anytime.
Thank you.